If you are over 60 and you have noticed that you feel weaker than you used to, that getting out of a chair takes more effort, that carrying groceries feels harder, that your arms and legs look thinner than they did a decade ago, there is a very specific biological process responsible. It has a name. It affects between 25 and 45% of all seniors in the United States. And the vast majority of people experiencing it have no idea it is happening, no idea why, and no idea that there is a proven, natural, completely accessible way to fight back against it, starting this week with no gym membership required. By the end of this video, you will understand exactly why muscle loss accelerates so dramatically after 60, why it is so much more dangerous than most seniors realize, and the 4 science-backed natural strategies that research confirms can rebuild muscle strength at any age, even in your 70s, 80s, and beyond. So stay with me, because what I am about to share could genuinely change the way you move, feel, and live for the rest of your life. The condition is called sarcopenia, from the Greek words meaning poverty of flesh, and it is one of the most significant and underappreciated health threats facing seniors today. According to the NIH, we all begin losing muscle mass starting around age 30 at a rate of roughly 3 to 5% per decade. That gradual loss continues quietly through our 40s and 50s, but something changes around age 60. The process accelerates. Research from UT Southwestern Medical Center confirms that between 25 and 45% of US seniors have sarcopenia, and the rates climb steeply with every passing decade. By the time adults reach their 80s, studies suggest that between 11 and 50% of them have significant sarcopenia. And the consequences of this muscle loss go far beyond looking or feeling weaker. According to the NIH, seniors with sarcopenia are nearly twice as likely to be hospitalized as those without it. It dramatically increases the risk of falls, broken bones, and the loss of independent living. It makes it harder for the body to fight certain diseases, including cancer, and, critically for anyone managing diabetes or blood sugar, sarcopenia directly worsens insulin resistance, making glucose control significantly harder. Muscle tissue is the body's largest glucose disposal organ. When you lose it, your blood sugar becomes harder to control. Everything is connected, and sarcopenia sits at the center of it all. So why does this happen? Why does muscle loss accelerate so dramatically after 60, even in people who have been reasonably active all their lives? The answer is not simple. It is a convergence of several biological processes that happen simultaneously, each one compounding the others. Understanding them is the first step to fighting back effectively. The first reason is the decline in anabolic hormones. As we age, the levels of hormones responsible for building and maintaining muscle, testosterone, estrogen, growth hormone, and insulin-like growth factor, all decrease significantly. Research published in PMC confirms that changes in testosterone and insulin-like growth factor directly affect muscle fiber maintenance and regeneration. For women, the hormonal shift of menopause causes a particularly sharp decline in estrogen, which plays a critical role in muscle preservation. For men, the gradual reduction in testosterone after 60 accelerates fat accumulation and muscle breakdown simultaneously. These hormonal changes do not mean muscle rebuilding becomes impossible, but they do mean it requires more deliberate effort than it did in younger years. The second reason is the loss of motor neurons, the nerve cells that send signals from the brain to the muscles, triggering them to contract and move. Research published in PMC confirms that as we age, motor neurons are progressively lost and cannot be fully replaced. When a motor neuron dies, the muscle fibers, it was connected to lose their signal, and without that signal, those fibers weaken and atrophy. This neurological component of sarcopenia is one reason why muscle loss in seniors is not just about size, but also about speed, coordination, and functional strength. The fibers most affected are the type 2, fast twitch muscle fibers, the ones responsible for quick, powerful movements, for catching yourself when you stumble, for rising quickly from a chair. The loss of these fibers is directly linked to the increased fall risk that defines sarcopenia's most dangerous consequences. Are you still with me? Because the third reason is one that almost no senior has ever been told, and it is profoundly actionable. It is the dramatic decline in the body's ability to synthesize protein from the food we eat. Research from Harvard Health confirms that even when older adults consume the same amount of protein as younger people, their muscles absorb and use that protein far less efficiently. The aging body needs significantly more dietary protein to achieve the same muscle-building response that younger people get from a smaller amount. This means that a senior eating what feels like a perfectly adequate diet, the same diet they have eaten for decades, may be in a state of chronic protein deficiency relative to what their muscles actually need. Add to this the fact that appetite often decreases with age, that many seniors skip meals or eat smaller portions, and that certain common medications interfere with protein metabolism. And you have a perfect storm of protein insufficiency that silently accelerates muscle loss year after year. The fourth reason is chronic low-grade inflammation, a state that researchers call inflammaging, which is the combination of inflammation and aging. As the body ages, the immune system begins producing low levels of inflammatory compounds on a continuous basis. This chronic inflammation actively breaks down muscle tissue, interferes with the signals that trigger muscle repair and regeneration, and accelerates the loss of both muscle mass and function. Research published in Harvard Health confirms that this inflammatory process is one of the core biological drivers of sarcopenia. And critically, it is one that lifestyle choices can meaningfully influence. Diet, sleep, stress levels, and physical activity all directly affect the body's inflammatory state. This is why the natural strategies we are about to discuss work on multiple levels simultaneously. They do not just build muscle, they address the underlying biological environment that is causing muscle to be lost in the first place. Now stay with me, because everything we have discussed so far was context. What comes next is what you actually do about it. And I want to be very clear about something before we get into the strategies. Research published just recently, reviewed by The Conversation in March 2026, confirms unambiguously that it is never too late to build muscle. An 85-year-old who begins a resistance training program can achieve the muscle mass and strength typical of a healthy 65-year-old. Studies show meaningful muscle gains in seniors in their 70s, 80s, and even 90s who begin progressive resistance training. Progressive resistance training can produce improvements in as little as 2 weeks. The biology of muscle growth does not shut off with age. It just requires more specific, deliberate stimulation than it did when we were younger. The first and most powerful natural strategy is resistance training. And this is not negotiable, because according to UT Southwestern Medical Center and the NIH, it is the only activity proven to slow the progression of sarcopenia and rebuild lost muscle. But resistance training for seniors does not mean a gym. It does not mean barbells. It means any activity that places progressive load on the muscles. Resistance bands, bodyweight exercises like squats and push-ups, light dumbbells, chair exercises, yoga, and Tai Chi. Research from UT Southwestern shows that just 2 to 3 30-minute sessions of resistance training per week can significantly improve muscle mass in seniors and meaningfully influence metabolic health risk factors. The key word is progressive, gradually increasing the resistance or repetitions over time so the muscles are continuously challenged and stimulated to grow. The NIH recommends targeting all major muscle groups: arms, legs, core, back, and chest, and starting at 30 to 40% of maximum effort before progressing over time to 70 to 80%. The second natural strategy is protein, and specifically, consuming enough protein at the right times to overcome the age-related decline in protein synthesis. According to NIH guidelines, seniors with or at risk of sarcopenia should aim for at least 2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight per day, significantly more than the standard recommendation for younger adults. Research from Healthline confirms that distributing protein intake across meals, targeting 25 to 30 grams of high-quality protein per meal, is more effective for muscle building in seniors than consuming the same total amount in fewer, larger doses. The best protein sources for seniors are eggs, lean chicken and fish, Greek yogurt, legumes, and whey protein. The amino acid leucine deserves special mention. It is the primary trigger for muscle protein synthesis in aging muscle tissue, and it is found in particularly high concentrations in whey protein, fish, eggs, and meat. If you're not consuming adequate protein at every meal, no amount of exercise will fully overcome sarcopenia. The third strategy is omega-3 fatty acids, and the research here is compelling. Harvard Health confirms that omega-3s found in fatty fish like salmon, sardines, and mackerel have well-documented anti-inflammatory properties that directly benefit muscle health by dampening the chronic inflammation driving sarcopenia. A 2021 study found that middle-aged and older adults who ate 2 weekly servings of fatty fish showed significant increases in muscle mass, hand grip strength, and walking speed over just a 2-month period. Omega-3 supplementation has also been shown to help increase the rate of muscle protein synthesis and tissue repair. Combined with resistance training and adequate protein, omega-3s create a powerful anti-sarcopenia nutritional foundation. The fourth strategy addresses something that most seniors overlook entirely: vitamin D. Research from Harvard Health confirms that muscle cells contain vitamin D receptors, and that low vitamin D levels are consistently linked to weaker muscles, slower walking speed, and higher fall risk in seniors. Studies suggest that vitamin D deficiency is extremely common in adults over 60, particularly in those who spend limited time outdoors or live in northern climates. Adequate vitamin D, ideally from sun exposure and supplementation when necessary, with your doctor's guidance, supports muscle fiber function and helps maintain the strength and coordination that sarcopenia erodes. Magnesium deserves mention alongside vitamin D. A 2022 study found that sufficient magnesium intake may protect specifically against sarcopenia, and yet many older adults do not consume adequate magnesium due to decreased appetite and reduced absorption with age. One final piece of this puzzle that cannot be overlooked is hydration. Research from Harvard Health confirms that water makes up approximately 76% of muscle mass, and that dehydration, which is extremely common in seniors because the thirst sensation weakens with age, is significantly linked with greater levels of muscle protein breakdown. A 2023 study of 190 older adults found that dehydrated seniors experienced meaningfully accelerated muscle loss compared to those who were well hydrated. The simple daily habit of drinking adequate fluids, 6 to 8 cups throughout the day with every meal before feeling thirsty, may be one of the most underutilized tools for protecting muscle mass in seniors over 60. Have you noticed muscle weakness or physical decline that you have been attributing to simply getting older? I want to hear from you. Drop a comment below, because your experience matters, and the more seniors who understand that sarcopenia is real, measurable, and directly reversible with the right approach, the more people will take the steps that protect their independence, their health, and the years ahead of them. Share this video with someone you love who is over 60, because the strategies we discussed today are free, immediately accessible, and backed by decades of research. And subscribe if you have not already, because every week we bring you the most important evidence-based health information for seniors who are done accepting decline as inevitable. This video is for educational and informational purposes only. It is not intended as medical advice. Always consult your doctor or qualified healthcare professional before beginning any new exercise or nutrition program.